Okay, second graders, let's begin assembling our rain gauge. I'm down here in my little workstation. I have my container. I'm going to go with the plastic container because I like just how I can hold it and make a nice size rain gauge. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to look at my ruler carefully, and I'm going to look for the side that has inches on it. And if I look closely, I can see the word inch. So I'm going to put that right down on my, so it's right down to the bottom. You know, it's not going to be perfect. And I'm just going to mark a line. And I know this is hard to see. Just a little line with my Sharpie or my marker where the 1 inch line is. Okay. So it can be a little teeny bit less than an inch because it doesn't really start right at 0, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So I made my little mark. All right, you can see the mark. It's about 1 inch up. And the reason why I did that is because my container is not necessarily flat on the bottom. So then I'm going to take up the lid. I'm going to take those rocks, those pebbles that we found, and I'm going to just put a few of them in the container. I don't want it too high because I want it to have room to put some water in. So I'm going to try and find out some of the smaller ones here in my collection of pebbles and stones. If you can find even smaller ones, it might work even better than some of the rocks I have. But I could only find so much. All right, so I have some. You know, it looks like I can do one more. So I got a nice little base, and that kind of adds weight to it. So when I put it outside, it can be a little bit more sturdy. And I'm going to take my water, and I'm going to fill up the bottom of till it gets to that black line, or the line marking that I made. Oh, and it looks like it's almost perfect. I have a couple of rocks that are, maybe I need to push down a little bit or take out, but it looks like I have about an inch starting point. All right. So I want to see if you can see that. It's right up on the line. So it's about exactly 1 inch base, I'm going to call that. And I see one rock still sticking out, so I'm going to just take that rock out and shake it up a little bit. Again, I had that not a flat surface, but that looks pretty good. About an inch. Maybe I can add a little bit more water. So again, this does not be perfect, and again, if you can find the smaller pebbles, it probably will work just a little bit better. All right, so that is my 1 inch mark. Then you can do this on a sheet of paper. If you have a printer, that helps, but otherwise you're going to make take a strip of paper, and you're going to mark 5 inches. If your container is not quite 5 inches tall, you know, hopefully we don't get big rains with 5 inches of rain, but you can make it 4 inches. So that's up to you. You can measure using your ruler a 4-inch strip, and then mark the lines in between. I'm just going to cut this one out if I can find my scissors. Oops. There we go, my handy scissors. And I'm going to cut this out. My measuring gauge. Again, if you don't have a printer, you can make this with your ruler. You might want your parents to help you out. You can just kind of trace the ruler on a piece of paper, mark 5 inches, mark 4 inches, mark, you know, if you can find the 1/4 inch and the 1/2 inch, or you can mark each little line you see in between the inch and then give you kind of more of an accurate reading. But what we did here, or what the template will show, is I marked just the 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. All right, then I'm gonna line that up with that little mark I made. And I'm gonna grab a little piece of tape. Here's my tape. And I am going to put the bottom of my measuring gauge, so it's right at the bottom of the water line that we have in there. All right, so we have something that will look just like that. And that's okay if it's the strip is going over the top. If we get more than 4 inches of rain in one setting, that's a lot of rain. So this is your rain gauge. You can reinforce that strip by, if you have some packing tape, or if you don't have packing tape, you can try gluing it on. That should work as well. But since it's going to be outside, I'm just going to add a little bit more tape since it will get wet. So it is probably a good idea to cover it with tape. So hopefully you have some tape. And if you don't, you can even just stick your ruler. You know, if you know it's going to rain, you can just stick your ruler in to your rain gauge and tape it. So this is just another option. I'm going to put my ruler, I'm going to try and, so it looks like that, and that should mark at 1 inch, and then I can just tape that on. So you have 2 types of measuring devices. I like the paper just because it's nice and big, but the ruler works as well. And if you need your ruler, you can just take it out and use your ruler. So there you have it. There is your homemade rain gauge. I can put this outside in a spot where rain will collect, and after the rain is done, you can go out and see how much rainfall you had in your backyard or front yard or wherever you put it. So have fun. You can be creative, you can decorate it, but it's good to have something clear so you can actually see the water. Okay, that's the rain gauge.